It's about the time to talk it out.
Let's talk, let's talk.
It's time to talk it out. It's time to talk it out.
Let's talk, let's talk.
You know it's time to talk it out.
Hey, 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 you know, and it's your boy, Chill, all the way from the U.S., right back with you today on today's episode of Talking Out. And I am here to tell you that today I am feeling real good about the show. I'm feeling so good. I mean, man, I got to tell you before we even get started, this episode is brought to you by Mobbed Up Water. Don't forget, hydrate. Don't forget about it. All right? So I would like to thank my co-host, the boss, the one and only, and Hugh, the one and only, and of course, DJ Despair.
Salute.
From Toronto and from Winnipeg, Canada. Okay.
Sorry, I got to be mobile for a minute, so I'm here. So let's just, I can't wait to do this interview.
Yeah. Today we have a very, very special guest on the show. It's more than likely the biggest guest that I've had on the show. I'm so excited to have him on. He goes by the name of Jaz-O, the originator. Jaz-O, the originator, hailing out of New York, the man who mentored the one and only Jay-Z. So, with that in mind, let's bring up Jaz-O here. What's going on, Jazz?
What's the deal?
The man, the myth himself. Well, Jazz, allow me to introduce you to my co-host, DJ Despair, okay, from Winnipeg, Canada, the guy that's in the car looking crazy.
We've already met before. What are you talking about?
Yep. Well, I'm letting you know and see you again. And,
What's poppin'?
And our headquarters up there in Toronto, Canada, we have the boss, the one and only the boss, and Hugh. Welcome.
All right, greetings.
Welcome to Talk It Out. Welcome.
What it is. All right.
Man, I am so excited about this. I'm so excited about this interview, man. Basically, tell all of the viewers out there in the Caribbean and overseas or what have you that lived under a rock and may not know who you are or what you do and things of that nature. Where you're from and who you are, things of that nature.
Yeah, for those who don't know, they call me Jaz-O, from Marcy Projects, born and raised, Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn. You know the story. I tuned it and, bought in the game, such names as Jay-Z, Irv Gotti, Chad Elliott, did music for the Locks. They got them their first deal with Bad Boy, and the list goes on. You can Google me. I got it. I'm glad everybody, all the listeners, you know what I'm saying? I hope that you get an earful of something that you can enjoy and be informed about the kid.
Yes. So, Jazz,
Yo.
to begin, how long have you been out here doing this thing of ours with this music? Tell the people.
Man, 30 plus at least. Really longer than that, but we talking about the days before the internet, so on and so forth. Before they were manufacturing CDs, we were in the streets getting it popping. MC battles. You know, they had the music out. You know, where they jacked the juice from the light post. You know, so I've been doing it for a minute.
Yeah, yeah. So who or what inspired you to do hip hop?
Man, it was you know, when I decided to do it, it was relatively new, and it wasn't even called hip hop. It was called b-boy. And you know, a friend of mine, you know, he asked me. It sounds funny, right? It sounds like Run DMC, right? Said a friend of mine asked me to say some MC rhymes, but I ain't have no, you know what I'm saying? But I ain't have no MC rhymes. I just had a, you know, I didn't have a rhyme, so I had to write one. I wrote an 8 bar joint, and he was in, you know, he was enthused, and he was like, "You should say it outside," you know, when they got the music out. And I was like, "Yeah, whatever." But I got gas though, because he liked it so much, and you know, I just kept on going with it, and as it was, it was sort of magical because b-boy, it was starting to grow, you know, because b-boy wasn't just rhyming, it wasn't just MCing. B-boy was DJing, you know, the way they was cutting, not scratching. It was called cutting, and you know, the thick laces in your Adidas shell toes, you know, the break dancing, the electric boogie, all of that was b-boy. So, you know, hip hop is what they call hip hop today is just the music, and then I mean they're trying to kind of, you know, smother that and you know, throw that out of the fray and just call it rap music. But but yeah, it's been a long time, and as I in the magical aspect of it, you know, when I got accepted to the High School of Music and Art, um, me and one of my co-Ds, you know, we started going to school uptown, which exposed us to, you know, Furious Five, Cold Crush Brothers, Fantastic Romantic Five, you know, all of the Zulu Nation crews. So we were exposed to that, and it hasn't been officially put on record, but me and my man Steve Crossland, aka Stevie Steve, you know, we brought that whole style of MCing and DJing to Brooklyn because, you know, Brooklyn, to be honest, was just a little bit behind, you know, as far as like the, you know, the most advanced way of doing things. Like, you know, they was you know, the average, you know, niggas was saying like, MCs was on Mikey and Ike was playing in a ditch. You know, that was the whole get up. But, you know, and I came back to Brooklyn talking about, yes, yes, y'all, to the beat, y'all. They was like, what the fuck is that? You know what I'm saying? So, and I'm maybe I'm tooting my own horn, but, you know, beat beat. Um, so, you know, I'm just saying, you know, but if I don't, so, you know, after a while, you know, after 30 some odd years, if if you ain't telling it, or if nobody else is telling it, who's gonna tell it but you? You know, you gotta tell it. You gotta set the record straight. You gotta say something. So, but that's how it went down. That's how it went down for the most part. And like I said, I've been doing it for a minute to answer your question.
So tell all of the viewers out there that's watching, a little bit about your experience in the industry as far as when you got your first deal, when you first went overseas, being, one of the pioneers of even doing that and a few other things. Tell us about that.
Definitely. Well, I got my first single deal in 1987. It was 1987 with Tommy Boy Records, and it wasn't for MCing. Like I didn't make a rap record. I made an R&B record called I'm in Love, and it did pretty well in quite a few markets. You know, Tommy Boy was a baby in that. You know, for the most part, they were doing like club music and stuff like that. Um, and I didn't. It wasn't really. Well, it was my choice because I did it, but that wasn't my where my love was. So that was 1987, and in 1988, I got my first major record deal with EMI Records, and I bought my little bro, Jay-Z, and my other little bro, Irv Gotti. They came out to London with me to record my album. Um, that's how that went down. I stayed with EMI. I did two LPs and an EP, and I took a hiatus. I came back in it um, in the early '90s. I was in Atlanta. Well, not in Atlanta, but I was in Georgia, and I came back and I started producing a couple of things. I did this joint called "Forgive My Sins" for Group Home. Um, like I said, that was around the time I did three joints for the Locks before they were officially the Locks. They got them their deal with Bad Boy. Um, I just started producing. In my lifetime, the remix for Jay-Z is called the Big Jazz Remix. Um, Went further and produced "Ain't No Nigga" for Jay-Z shortly afterward, and that's when people who weren't familiar with the rhyme situation, they just thought I was a producer guy, or like a mentor. So, um, moving along to today, I just been producing, um, in and out. I wouldn't say in and out the game really, because I just do what I do, and I do what I think feels right, you know, because I'm not really a lover of the music industry. I'm a lover of the music. So if I see a situation and it's not, uh, I don't feel it's appealing, then I just don't deal with it. Some people might think that's strange because there's so much money to be made, but money is a lot, but money ain't everything.
Yes, yes. So, Hugh, I know you got a couple of questions.
I mean, yeah. I mean, so you've been in this for like 30 years or more, and I'm just curious, what have you seen in terms of changes over the years? And in particular, like, because we hear all kinds of crazy stories about what it takes to make it in the music or in the hip hop industry, right? I'm curious. Have you seen any major changes over the years?
um, I would have to say, I mean, you have people who are willing to do, to go above and beyond to make it. You have people who are not very creatively talented, but are very, I guess, talented in other ways. I should say they're not very musically talented, but in other aspects, as far as business, maybe they're they have it under cap and they succeed. Um, that became more available with the advancement of technology, of course, with the internet, with streaming, downloading, you know, all of that became more prevalent. Um, but that was the main thing. Like, when we got our name out there, talking about 25, 30 years ago, you had to get your name out there. Like literally, like you had to be recorded on something and, distribute it yourself because unless you had a record deal, it was a no-go. So, and in order, like back then, in order to get a record deal, like most of the time somebody had to hear about you because the A&Rs, the urban music A&Rs were basically like R&B A&Rs and didn't have their ear to the street as far as the new wave of things called hip hop. So they had to find out who was popular in the street. And the only way to get popular in the street is the battle. You know what I'm saying? You had to battle, you had to record something, and you had to make sure it got into the right hands, as far as listeners. I had material, on a literal cassette tape, you know, that people like Luke Skywalker had back in the days. And I mean, we in New York, you know, technically in Brooklyn, and just the fact that, you know, our stuff, you know, really me and a couple of you know, my DJ, this cat KG and Stevie Steve and Fresh Gordon, you know, producer, you know, produced stuff with Fat Boys and a couple of other major artists at that time. Um, you know, it got circulated. You know, stuff was in Virginia. You know, people were hearing my voice in VA, Maryland. You know, up and down the East Coast for the most part. You know, even in the West Coast. Like I had I had a rep. You know, in LA, people knew me in LA. I didn't even have a record deal. So it was one of those things. You just had to find ways to get it in the right hands. And it wasn't like I was doing songs. Like, you know, our mixtape, and that's where the mixtape originally came from. The name was that the DJ would get on the Wheels of Steel, put on a break beat, and you get it popping. You know, and you better have enough lyrics or you're gonna look stupid. You better have enough rhymes. So I used to have joints, you know, I'm just on there rhyming for a half hour straight, you know what I'm saying? And if we had the 60-minute max L cassette, you know, it's like, oh man, the 30 minutes up, so you gotta turn it over. You better have some more. You know what I'm saying? You better have some more ready. So that's how that was, but that was how you got your name. That's how you got your name out there, you know. And
I'm
they
just wondering, you know, you mentioned the A&R guys, and in those days they had to go out there and they had to, you know, find out what was going on the streets. But it just seems to me there's so much talent these days. It's almost like the A&R departments, their job is to keep people out, right?
yeah.
And they just work with their artists on staff or whatever, and it's a team effort, and it's all, you know, the prime driver is the ultimate commercial success. Almost like they're you know, they've lost the ability to really sense good music that's natural, that's coming from the streets. Do you think it's still possible for an artist that's not, you know, unknown to rise to the top through their talent these days?
Of course, of course. There are always exceptions. You know, I mean, the consensus of a lot of my contemporaries, they always say like, "Oh, this is this and that's that," you know, and they're discouraged as far as putting out new music. And I mean, come on, you still got it. What got you to that point where you were at your pinnacle, you know, at your peak? You know, you still have it. You know, so, but the missing aspect is that they don't know the new way of marketing. They don't know the new way, you know, social media is, come on, we already know. So basically you can still rise with the talent, but another issue is that I would say maybe like 15, 20, well, like 20 years ago, they started this thing whereas they like the A&Rs, like they didn't want to hire because you know A&Rs used to be guys that, you know, well that guy right there, you know, he knows such and such and such and such, and you know they have mad talent and he knows a lot of people with talent. Make him an A&R, make her an A&R.
Mm-hmm.
But now it's like, okay, where did you graduate from? You know, it's more based on education. So a lot of A&Rs nowadays they've become more, you know, the protocol and agenda was to make them more administrative. And so they would have to be educated. You can't get like a guy that just knew or a girl that just knew all the talent out here or just had an ear for talent and didn't have education. And then to do, you want them to do travel. You know, you want them to do administrative stuff, you know. So it led to problems. So that was one thing I wanted to mention as far as that. But as far as the talent of the individual, yeah, it's definitely possible. And it's also a plus to have the best of both, you know, to know what you're doing business wise, to be internet savvy, and to have the creative songs of what people want to hear, you know, and what people want to hear has changed because of a certain type of music or rap music, if you want to call it, being predominant now. So it's definitely possible. And I mean, I'm one of the most, in certain aspects, I'm one of the most stubborn people you would ever want to meet. And I say stubborn, I don't mean bullheaded, because I can see, I'm a realist. I can see if there's something that I need to be doing differently and it makes sense, not just to me, but if it makes sense, if it works and I see that it works, then I'm gonna go that way. But as far as me being a realist, like I believe in myself. And that's the main aspect too. And that's what's wrong with the music. The music quality is being compromised because you have a lot of people who understand how to get their streams up and they have the connections with certain people, as opposed to like this person makes great songs. They have talent. It's either one or the other, but unfortunately the administrative and business aspect of it is what wins, because let's remember this is the music business, the music industry. So
Well,
yeah.
I want to ask you something, Jaz-O. You've been in
Okay.
the industry for so long, and you've done.
Ooh, it makes me
You,
feel old. I'm just messing around.
well,
I'm just,
okay, long can be any time. At the time, it's not really.
I'm just messing around.
No, it's okay. And you've done a lot of things, right? So, what is there something that you want to do more in your career? What would you like to do more that you haven't done?
Uh-oh.
Oh,
He just dropped out.
Well, that's okay. He will be back. Of
there he
course.
is.
He's coming. There he is.
There we go. Here we go.
I guess
Yeah, I went out for a second.
yeah.
My bad.
All right, you are back, and that's what counts. Let's continue to talk it out. Go ahead, D-Balls.
Yeah, I was asking. You've done so many things in your career. What is there something that you want to do that you haven't done?
Go platinum. As an artist, not a producer. As a producer, I've gone platinum. As an artist, I have not gone platinum.
Okay. So that's what your pinnacle is. And what type of
No, I wouldn't say that. I would just say that would be one on my bucket list. I would. I don't know. Sadly enough, or maybe not sadly enough, my aspirations don't lie too much in business achievements, if you will. I just want to grow creatively. I want to as much as people think like I'm super low key, and I do have to say that. The
so that's
main
something
thing,
that people don't know about you. That you're
yeah, I
low.
mean, yeah, I'm low key, but they don't know because I'm low key.
That's
But
Jaz-O at his best right there. That's what now people know that something a little something about you.
So,
Yeah,
Jaz-O, how do you
yes.
feel on being the king of double time? Like you literally have set the pattern for that.
Um, I I'm over it. I'm over it. I gotta say though, I'm appreciative of whatever abilities I have and whatever it took for me to think of whatever I thought when I did it, initially. I'm just thankful. Um, I'm just thankful, but I have to say that yeah, I do want it known. And I'm a human being too. I want to be heard. I do want to be recognized for certain things, and if no one else was recognized for it, I wouldn't have a problem with it. But sometimes other people get recognized for things that you have achieved, and you have achieved beyond whatever they're being recognized for, and you don't get recognition for it. I don't get angry. I'm not bitter. It's just that, come on now, give it up,
Well, you see,
because I'm the first. Like if somebody does something and it's great, I'm gonna give it up. I'm not one of those type of people. Like I love to see people achieve things. I love to see people do things for other people and be recognized for it. You know, I want the same thing. Give it up.
Because as a DJ and an artist in this industry, and then I've worked with a lot of rappers, and every single time I see somebody coming across with double time, they pay homage to you, and it's like it's an
That's
amazing
beautiful.
feeling, especially out here in Canada, because there's like the next generation knows Twista and everybody else and everything, and it's just like, and when K Slade did that full homage to all you guys with Buster and everything, that changed the game for me towards the youngins, because that proved who really started this,
Right, right,
and
right.
then
I
hip hop
appreciate
came,
that.
and
Yeah,
you know,
and shout out to K Slade because you know he could have done a million other records. He didn't have to do that record. And um, what I do also have to say that um, he sent me the beat and he just wanted me to put a verse on it. And he said, to be honest, he didn't have an idea to do the song like that. Um, he just, yeah, he just wanted me to put bars on it, whatever I was gonna put on it. But um, when I did what I did on it, he was like, "Yo," he was like, "I didn't know you gonna do that on it." He was like, "Yo, let me get how you feel about getting such and such and such, getting Buster and Lazy and Twister." I was like, "Let's go."
well, that's the best of all generations in that aspect of double time. You know what I'm saying? It's like
hmm
I'm
And
I'm dying to
and for
do a
the
track
record,
with you
I
right
gotta.
now on that level.
Oh yeah, yeah. Let's go. Let's go. And for the record, what we called it, like we said in the original originators, triplet style. Of course, it's double time now because of the different, time signature of, how they do,
I'm
how
just
they
being
putting out
politically
records and
correct.
stuff.
I know our slang for it and everything. I just try to be politically correct for the viewers
Okay,
nowadays, because that's how they put it as now. So that's
okay,
like kind of thing in hip hop. But as in the
okay.
thing is like, when you started doing this, what were people
Uh-huh.
like? What was the aspect of people looking at you when you just came on stage and just started spinning a bunch of lyrics? And
Um,
most people at that time couldn't really understand, because to some of them that's kind of like patois and reggae. So you
right,
know what I
right, right,
mean? So
right. I was approached with with that a couple of times, and they were like, "Is it the same thing? Is that where you got it from?" I was like, "No, it's not." you know. But I mean, I'm not gonna sit here and say that I invented the wheel. I just, you know, like I put
perfected it.
some new spree wells on it. You know, I put, I added another twist to what has already been laid down. I mean, because when you look at like say scatting in jazz, that obviously that was long before we were, even thought of. So you have scatting, it's the similar time signatures. It's like a freestyle, basically, right? So in that same aspect, I don't want to sit here and make it like, I invented the wheel, but I definitely added on to things that have already been creatively produced, and I'm not saying I'm the only one. I could say I'm the first one and the only one in my genre or in this genre of creative music that did anything like that.
Well,
But
it's like in this
So
game, there's a. Oh, sorry, chill.
that's all right.
I was
Well,
just
yeah,
saying.
I
Go
just
ahead.
wanted to let you know because we're starting to wind down a little bit. But I wanted to bring out and put it out there that Jazz has a new EP out, and it's doing great numbers, and I'm proud of him and the team. Jazz, tell
oh,
us a little bit about the EP.
oh yeah. Well, the EP is called the Warm Up. Uh, it's a 10-song EP, and we're in the process of finishing the editing for MARCY, and we're also in production for the next single, which is called Fisher Prices, and I'm happy about it. Um, I listened to it and I sort of have an out of body experience because I never heard myself really in that element, because I mean, for one, I haven't recorded a project per se in a long time, but just to live through that project or through this project and listen to it, it's crazy. It's crazy because it took for what I had to learn to not only keep up with the technology, I mean, I think personally, lyrically, I'm still ahead. I'm ahead of the game. That's it. But I listen to it like an out of body experience, like that. I'm almost saying like, yo, that dude is fucking ridiculous. Like that dude is nice, and I know it sounds like I'm tooting my horn again. Beat. It is what it is. If I don't do it, who's gonna do it? And I appreciate everybody who does. And but that's it. Like I love the project.
Okay.
Yeah, I love the project.
Okay. Jazz, real quick, the name of your label, Kings County. Kings
Yes.
County Media Group.
Yes.
Tell people where they can find it, the social medias for yourself, all of that good stuff.
Definitely. Well, the name of the company, like Chill said, is Kings County Media Group. We have a website, which is www.kingskountymedia.com. You can also find me on IG, Jaz-O KKMG. Of course, that's Jazo KKMG. Jaz-O for Twitter. Jonathan Jaz-O Burks on Facebook. Jaz-O also on Facebook on the fan page.
Well, I wanted to go ahead and give the viewers a taste of the EP. We have queued up MARCY, the lyric video. This
All
is
right.
the lyric video to all the viewers.
No doubt. Let's get it.
Let's get it. So
We get to see the lyrics and people can see if they have their own out of body experiences as well.
awesome.
Yeah.
MARCY.
Kings County. Mama took me to you right away. I took to you. Show me love before I even knew what it was.
Mama took me to you right away. I took to you. Show me love before I even knew what it was. A perfect fit, you and I, to this very day. And anybody else around you felt the same way. The first summer we parted, it wasn't my choice. I was broken hearted. I was so young then, didn't realize it was just an annual trend. I was so happy to see you again. Friday night shrimp fry party on the 6th floor, 644, not a single locked door. More than fair weather, friends in love together. My family thought you were blocking my future endeavors. Looking through the window, watching all out war. The next day out, screaming about what we saw. Through it all, I could never ignore. It was you that I so adored. I love you.
Mama took me to you right away. I took to you. Show me love before I even knew what it was.
We grew up together, so corrupt together. Yelling your name in my rhymes, we blew up together. So social without being vocal. Even to them nondescripts acting like they know you. Johnny B turned jazz master. A youngin' with the gift of gab and lyrically faster. Me and Ron ran amok with the CeeLo and Chuck-a-Luck. Then off the Uncle Mango's crib and Red Hook. Styling at them house parties. Overzealous, brought it back to the center so you wouldn't get jealous. Stevie Steve, live forever. Master C, Dr. D, KG, Busy E. Rockin' rhymes, breaking beats. Still in them streets, but you were always home. No matter how far I would roam, I come back. We side when comrades caught them football numbers. We cried and you would comfort every one of us. I was there, you embraced Kev Webb in his last minutes. You let them alkies in your living room drinking in it. Dice games turn stick-ups, 1,000 witness. Protected many when indulging in that lousy business. Respected worldwide, some you got scared shitless. Some of your folks hard to go, some are straight shiftless. Regardless how this all plays out, till the end is me and you, my love. Mama took me to you right away, I took to you. Show me love before I even knew what it was. You Mercedes, Beamers, Jags, and Range Rovers. They say you brand new cause you got a makeover. They whispering your best days over, our time way over. But only we can understand. In battle, no matter the odds, you never ran. In your embrace, I became a man. 1,000 times you saved me. Mama birthed me, but you made me. I love you, Marcy. Mama took me to you right away, I took to you. Show me love before I even knew what it was.
Yes, that's M-A-R-C-Y by the legendary Jaz-O himself, the originator. Real quick before we go, Jaz-O, so that people will get a good understanding of what's going on here, real quick. What the video itself, what inspired Marcy?
The place I was born and raised.
The place born and raised.
You know what I'm saying? But it's a romance story, not a romance like intimate romance, but a spiritual romance. You know, Marcy Houses is where I was born and raised. You know, and most all of us who grew up there, you know, we're like nationalists as far as Marcy is concerned. You know, so. Like I said, you know, Mama took me to you right away. I took to you, you know, like I was meant to be there. And it's just growing up, all the experiences. That's how we felt about Marcy. Like it's an actual spirit. It's not just a bunch of bricks, you know, a bunch of buildings and hallways and whatnot. You know, it's a place. It was our haven. You know, and it's still in our hearts. Is our haven.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Well, thank you so much, Jaz-O, for coming on today. We are pleasure to have you. Look forward to having you come back on sometime and even coming on up to Canada, you know, live, you know.
No doubt. No doubt.
Okay. DJ Despair, Boss, and Hugh. Hey, I love you guys, and we are now concluding another edition of Talk It Out. To everybody out there, all 1.2 million households watching us, we love you. Remember, talk it out.
It's about the time to talk it out.
Let's talk, let's talk.
It's time to talk it out. It's time to talk it out.
Let's talk, let's talk.
You know it's time to talk it out.